Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome on behalf of ISA and the ECOS Institute to the event today. We are very glad to see such a high level of participation from so many countries. And to remove the language barrier during this event, we invite you to activate the caption button at the bottom of the Zoom screen. You can see three little dots. If you click on them, you will see show captions. And you may choose the language of your preference so that you can follow easier the discussion by using subtitles. At ECOS, we spend a lot of time talking about knowledge, evidence, and professional learning. We have had a few events in the past, and we plan many until the end of the year. But today, we are focusing on something that often makes the difference between knowing and doing. Because successful learning communities are not built by tools alone, they are built by people, by leaders who know how to listen, by colleagues who know how to create trust, by professionals who can facilitate dialogue or navigate differences and help others grow. This is why soft skills matter. They may be called soft, but they are often the hardest skills to develop and perhaps the most powerful when it comes to leading change. Today's event brings together experience from 4 countries that have been exploring exactly these questions through the Soft Skills Project that you will hear a little bit more later. Together, they have tested approaches, they learned from each other, they reflected on what takes to lead teacher and staff learning groups in ways that are meaningful, inclusive, and sustainable. As part of ECOS community, we are delighted to create such a space where these experiences can be shared, can be discussed, and considered to be adapted across different contexts, countries, and even continents. Thank you for joining us. I'm Mihaela Ionescu. I'm the Program Director in ISA, and I hope that today's conversation will leave you with practical ideas or with fresh inspiration, and perhaps with a renewed appreciation for skills that help people learn, connect, and thrive together. I'm delighted now to give floor to Mateja Režek, researcher at the Education Research Institute in Slovenia, to steward us further into the discussion. Mateja, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mihaela. I will wait just for presentation. Okay. Or maybe I can start, yeah. So, yeah, thank you. This event is organized in the framework of the Erasmus Plus project, Soft Skills for High Quality Education, implemented between November 23 and July 26 by partners from Slovenia, Croatia, Estonia, and Slovakia. The project brought together 4 national leading organizations and 4 pilot kindergartens. Its main goal was to strengthen the soft skills of teachers, support learning group leaders, and support them in leading professional learning communities. The project was based on the idea that professional learning communities do not depend only on good structures, methods, and meeting plans, but they mostly depend on how leaders listen, facilitate dialogue, build trust, encourage participation, and support reflection. In each country, the national leading organizations work together directly with leaders from pilot kindergartens, and these leaders were already leading professional learning communities in their own kindergartens. Through the project, we supported them, learned from their practice, and used these insights to shape the training activities and project results. Over the past 2.5 years, we explored existing practices, developed a training framework, delivered national and international learning opportunities, established an international professional learning community, and created a practical toolbox for strengthening and reflecting on soft skills in professional learning communities. And today's event is an opportunity to share what we have learned, present the main project results and open a wider conversation about what supports professional learning communities in becoming real spaces for learning, reflection, and professional growth. Now I'm giving floor to Katka.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for the introduction, Michaela. Thank you, Matea, for introducing the project. And good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our international dissemination event. My name is Katarina Panikova, and I will be your moderator today. And over the next 90 minutes, we are going to hear directly from the people closest to the project, who have lived it, the kindergarten leaders who changed the way they facilitate their professional learning, and national organizations that made it possible. And we will also take a first look at the toolbox, soft skills toolbox that came out of this work. So I want to set the expectations for today. It is not a formal presentation, it is just a conversation, and we will hear real voices and real experiences from the field. So I invite you to be curious, to stay with us in the chat, and to take part in the interactive moments. There will be some of those as well along the way. So we will now start with the people who are closest to the work, the leaders of the teacher support learning groups in our partner kindergartens. We have 4 colleagues here who join us today from Croatia, Estonia, Slovakia, and Slovenia. So please allow me to introduce the panelists for the first panel. From Croatia, Aleta Jurki from kindergarten Savica. From Estonia, we have Kathleen Jer from kindergarten Kurvekula, and it's a longer name, which I'm sorry I can maybe not pronounce correctly. Then from Slovakia, Tatiana Pastorekova from kindergarten Spišský Hrhov. And from Slovenia, we have Petra Roy from kindergarten Pobrežie Maribor. Welcome to all 4 of you. And we will start with a question about where this journey began for you. Before the project started, Aleta, I would like to ask you first. How did you understand the soft skills in the context of leading a professional learning group?
Thank you, Katka, for the question. Before participating in the project, I've used soft skills primarily as a support for professional competences without fully understanding their role in professional learning groups and the educational process. I was aware of their importance in the field of communication and interpersonal relationship, but I did not understand enough how to consciously develop, apply, and interrogate them into professional practice. I mainly perceive the soft skills as personal characteristics and less as a set of competencies that can be systematically developed through experience, reflection, and collaborative learning. In professional learning communities, I did not sufficiently recognize their impact on the quality of team cooperation, building trust, effective problem solving, and creating a stimulating environment for the exchange of knowledge and experiences. It was only through this project that I began to understand more deeply that soft skills are the foundation for quality leading professional learning community.
Thank you, Aleta. And the same question for you, Tatiana. So what was your understanding before the project began?
Thank you, Katka. Can you hear me? Okay. Yes. Before this project, I knew about individual skills such as empathy, self-expression, feedback, problem-solving, conflict resolution, decision-making, emotional intelligence, management, communication, collaboration, and teamwork, and other, but I didn't classify them as soft skills, but as characteristic features of people or as work competencies that teachers should have in collective. I knew that these were important attributes that should be part of our work. When I look back, we applied many soft skills, but not in depth, and I didn't pay that much attention to them only after the project started. We had various meetings on soft skills education, I started to focus on them more comprehensively, and currently I can see great progress in our professional learning group and in me specifically.
Thank you. That is great. And now, Petra, let me turn to you. So, has your understanding of soft skills changed through this experience? And what feels different to you today compared to when you started?
Okay, thank you. Yes, my understanding has definitely deepened through this experience. Before the project, I was familiar with soft skills and recognized their importance, but I didn't fully see how central they are to leading a professional learning community. Now my perspective is more holistic. I think I better understand now how soft skills shape not only the group atmosphere, but also the quality of dialogue and people's willingness to engage and share. What has changed most in my level is my level of intentionality. I focus not only on content and structure, but also on participants, their needs, responses, and their sense of safety and inclusion. I actively try to integrate these skills by adapting activities, observing group dynamics, and also creating space for everyone to contribute. And as a result, I can say I see positive changes in the group. Participants are more open, engaged, and also willing to share, which enriches the learning process for everyone.
Thank you. Kathleen, now the same question to you. So, what shifts have you noticed in yourself?
Yes, thank you. My understanding has changed through this experience as a group leader. I feel that I have developed as a leader and can better notice the emotions and needs of the group members. And through that, I can motivate them betterly. I now know how to direct them more, listen to them better, give constructive and progressive feedback, and make them feel that each one of them belongs to the group and that their opinion is important. I also believe that the dynamics of our working group has become freer, easier, more comfortable, and definitely more meaningful compared to the beginning of the project.
Thank you. And now let's try to make this very concrete. So, can you give us a specific moment, like a concrete example from a real meeting where you facilitated differently because of something you learned in this project? Petra, I would love to start with you.
Yes, one concrete change I made is how I approach reflection during meetings. Because before I tended to leave it for the very end, but now I weave it through the session. After activities, I pause and invite participants to reflect, not just only on what they did, but on this, how they experience it and what it means for their own practice. I also checked in more regularly during the process with simple questions like, does this make sense? Or how are you feeling about this? And I think this helps me stay responsive. I can adjust the pace, clarify things, and also slow down when needed. Another shift is that I'm much more intentional about including everyone, especially quieter participants. I use strategies like small group discussion or structured turn taking to make sure each person has the opportunity to contribute. And because of these changes, I think I can see a clear difference in the group. Participants are much more engaged and confident, and discussions are richer, and there's a strong sense of trust, connection, and shared ownership in the learning process.
Thank you. That sounds wonderful. And Aleta, can you share a specific example from your practice?
Yes, so one example that sticks in my mind occurred while leading a learning community after I joined the project. Before the project, I had mostly led meetings in a very structured way, focused on the content and meeting objectives. I was often taking most of the communication to ensure that everything was according to plan. But through the project, I became aware of the importance of active listening, asking open ended questions, and creating space for equal participation of all members. In one meeting, I consciously decided to change my approach. Instead of immediately offering solution, I asked open-ended questions such as, how did you approach this challenge in your practice? What else has proven effective for you? What options have we not yet considered? What could you do differently next time? And in that way, encourage members to share their experiences, challenges, and suggestions. I also paid more attention to including those participants who usually do not participate in the discussion more often, creating opportunities for them to share their opinions through smaller groups or participation in a discussion, working in pairs, or by asking questions that related to their experience. At first, it was strange for me to give up some of the control to the group and let the conversation develop in the direction that I had not planned in advance. However, I quickly noticed that the participants became more active, more open, and more willing to share their experiences. The conversation was on higher quality, and the ideas that emerged were more diverse. After the meeting, several participants emphasized that they felt more involved and that it was useful for them to hear different perspectives from their colleagues. I also noticed a greater willingness of members to take the initiative. The experience showed me that successfully leading a learning community does not mean having all the answers, but creating conditions in which each member can contribute.
Thank you. Okay, now before we continue our conversation, I'd like us to watch a short video together. And in this video, I invite you to watch attentively and try to notice which soft skills do you see most strongly in the video. And we will get back to your ideas right after. So now, please, Jennifer, if you can share the video and we can watch it together.
Zdaj pa bomo mi se igrali igro, kjer je zelo pomembno sodelovanje. Vsak izmed vas bo izžrebal en košček sestavljanke in tisti, ko se boste skupaj našli, samo malo drugačno pozorni. Boste skupaj pol v ekipi. Samo morate se staviti, skupaj morate se staviti. Nekatere edino ni cela slika, to tako ni prav. Pri nekaterih so, mislim 4 so samo tako, da če ni cela slika, ampak vsaj ne da so. Še se da moramo. Ti si se da Jaz se še tam. Jaz sem kruška, sliva. Kruška. Kruška. Se boš pomaknila vse? Ne, gre skupaj, nekaj še malo. Nekaj še malo se sest? Ja? Nekaj pa manjša, vidja? Evo. Evo, pridem jaz. Vidite sta dve samo? Zdaj pa malo prostora potrebujemo. Sicer zato je nekaj glasiti, tja. Lahko ste pa več štiri. Vsaka skupina dobi eno uganko in najprej skupaj rešite uganko in potem to uganko narišete.
Right, okay, so this was a short video right from the practice, and it was showing a particular soft skill. So I wonder what your ideas were, and now to check it together, we will use a Mentimeter. So right now, Jennifer added in chat the code for the Mentimeter. So you can go to menti.com if you're on a computer, or you can scan on your mobile phone the QR code, and you should be able to enter. So now we are seeing what you thought might have been the most strongly present soft skill. Okay. Well, we'll wait for a few more responses to appear. But we see that most strongly we have cooperation, collaboration, connection, mutual connection, communication skills, respect, openness. So there are several soft skills mentioned, but in fact, you got it very well, because the video was about cooperation skills, open atmosphere, mutual connection. So thank you very much for participating. You can still add whatever you noticed. This is a valuable source for us also to know, and it feels good to know that it is actually visible what skill was shown in the video. And we see also humor. That's a good sign. So it was a very friendly and open atmosphere. That's true in the meeting. So right. So we will get back to the Mentimeter also a little bit later, and now we will continue with the conversation. So in a video or in a workshop, these skills, the soft skills, can look pretty straightforward at the first sight, but in real meetings of the teacher support learning groups, they are often much harder to apply. So when do you personally find this skill most difficult to practice, and what usually influences that? I'd like to ask Kathleen for the first answer.
Thank you. Yes, of course, sometimes it is difficult to apply the learned skills in a meeting effectively and in a such way that they give the desired result. First, I can point out that meetings usually take place in the middle of the working day, where the motivation and focus of the participants can be lost more easily. Then it is important to create a safe environment and start the meeting with an icebreaker activity where everyone can be an active participant and feel themselves comfortable. In order for it to work, I, as a leader, need to find an activity to begin with that would be suitable and make people think and communicate, even if these professionals often do not work together in everyday life. This is that kind of thinking work that must be done as a leader before the meeting begins, so that the meeting is maximally cooperative and meaningful. When this works, group dynamics are much more smoother and more productive. At the same time, I don't always feel the need to interfere in the conversation of the participants if I see that they stay on topic and have an active discussion. In this case, my task is to notice that even the less active participants get the chance to express their opinion or make them thoughts heard. For that, as a group leader, I have to stay focused and perceive that everyone is involved. Since the meetings are always limited in time, it is important to keep the structure and summarize it in such a way that everything important is reflected back and is commonly understood by all participants. By conducting in this way, as a leader, I have seen that with each meeting, it is easier for the participants to focus on what is important, to think along, and I see the collaboration of the group.
Thank you. Tanya, from your side?
Thank you. I completely agree that collaboration teamwork look easy in videos and training situations. In reality, and based on my personal experience, I can say it is challenging. However, when we practice this soft skill or any other soft skill within a collective, It can definitely be improved. It was difficult to practice at the beginning when my colleagues and I didn't know each other that well, and there wasn't a strong sense of psychological safety and security at work. The hardest part for me is practicing collaboration, teamwork during our afternoon meetings after work, when our important meetings are typically scheduled, and that time focus, intention, and motivation naturally decline. This can be caused by fatigue, daily events that happen during the day, or when colleagues are going through something internally. They might experience psychological strain due to personal or professional reasons, a workplace relationship, or stress from something else. Since I know my colleagues, I try to relieve their stress and tension by asking a simple question, "How are you?" leaving it optional to answer. I know they appreciated having time limits set at the beginning, so I always state them clearly. Then I facilitate a brief icebreaker activity to relax the atmosphere, followed by the teamwork collaboration activities themselves. If participants are not cooperating during an activity, I will come to them, ask if they understood the task and explain it again, or ask if something is wrong, and I try to keep them focused on the topic and collaborate.
Thank you. Okay, now before we ask our next question, I would like to explain something. So within this project, an international professional learning community was created, and this brought together the teacher support learning group leaders from all 4 countries to exchange experiences, to learn from each other, to build professional connections. So now, based on this, I would like to ask each of you, so how did the international learning community and contacts with colleagues from other countries influence your work? And this time, I'd like to start with Aleta.
Thank you. The international learning community was one of the most valuable experiences of the project because it allowed me to see my practice from a broader perspective. Through collaboration with colleagues from different countries, I learned about different approaches to work, ways of leading learning communities, and strategies for developing soft skills. Although we came from different educational system and cultural backgrounds, I recognize that we face similar challenges, which created a sense of connection and common professional identity. I especially benefited from the exchange of concrete examples from practice. Every meeting, I would hear an idea or approach that I hadn't considered before and later adapt it into my own work. This helped me to be more open to new methods and more willing to try different ways of running meetings and collaborating with colleagues. Also, working in an international environment further developed my communication and intercultural competences. I learned to listen more carefully, to respect different perspectives, and to adapt my communication style to participants who come from different professional and cultural contexts. Most importantly, international contacts gave me the feeling of being part of a wider professional community that shares the same values and goals. This increased my self confidence, motivation, and further development and willingness to more actively introduce changes in my own work.
Thank you. Petra, from your side?
The international learning community had really a strong impact on my work, both professionally and personally. It gave me the opportunity to connect with colleagues from different countries and educational systems, and to see that despite the different contexts, we share similar challenges and the same goal: supporting children's development through continuous reflection and learning. What I find especially valuable was the exchange of concrete experience from practice. I could share my own challenges, be heard, and also receive practical ideas that I could directly apply in my work. And this collaboration often helped me recognize challenges I had not fully noticed them before, and also reflect more deeply on my own practice. Being a part of a soft skill project and these international communities also strengthened and empowered me in my role as both as a facilitator and also as an educator. It increased my confidence, encouraged me to try new approaches, and also made me more open to change. But most importantly, it gave me really strong sense of belonging to a wider professional community where sharing, reflection, and collaboration truly matter. And for that, I'm really grateful.
Thank you, Tatiana.
Thank you. I am very grateful for the international learning community because it gave me new practical experience for work with my colleagues, children, parents, and myself. Everything had and still has influence on our work. Throughout the project, we met with kindergarten teachers from partner countries in online meetings or face-to-face, during which we exchanged practical experiences. For each country kindergarten, the teachers named a problem situation, a challenge that they were currently solving. We usually choose one situation which we analyzed in more depth and try to jointly propose possible solutions and recommendations, from removing or eliminating the problem using different procedures or practical solutions. It is beneficial to learn how teachers in individual countries actually encounter similar or different challenges. Our challenge for a solution was chosen several times when we tried to solve the situation together using critical thinking and soft skills. Thanks to these meetings, I put many suggestions into practice. Working with colleagues from different countries involved in the soft skills project brought us different experiences, a new perspective on solving challenges. This gave us a huge experience. At the same time, we saw the equipment and diverse spaces of kindergartens in different countries, which inspired us for our kindergarten.
Thank you, Kathleen. The final word on this one for
Yes,
you.
thank you. I think the biggest value was seeing the work of other countries and visiting their children's institutions. These people already became a small family where with every meeting you could see development, cooperation, and also that we actually share the same values and the same concerns. The international learning community made me step out of my comfort zone and look at many things from a different perspective. It gave more courage to try new things, self-confidence, and practical experiences.
Thank you. So what we have just heard from our panelists points to something that what we truly believe deserves more attention, and that's the power of international professional communities. And we have some good news. Later this year, a self-paced course on this topic of soft skills will be available on ECO's platform. And here we are having a second interactive moment. So again, we have a Mentimeter, and we'd like to ask you to answer the question. So would you be interested in joining an international community of practice on soft skills and other topics of interest to you? We are waiting for the responses. We have so far 9, but this looks actually great so far. Maybe you will wait for a couple more responses, but so far we can already say I'm not so great in mathematics, especially under these circumstances. But I would say that it is almost 80% perhaps of people who would be interested in joining such a community, which is very encouraging news and a clear signal that this is something that is very useful and necessary. Right. Thank you. We can keep collecting the answers, and we'll have feedback regarding the ECOS offer. And now we are nearly closing the panel. We are almost at the end of the first panel discussion, and I'd like to close with something useful for everyone watching today. And so please, I would like to ask you in 30 seconds or so each, what is the one piece of advice you would give to someone who is just only starting to lead a professional learning community? So a quick advice. Kathleen, you first, please.
I think my advice would be to trust yourself and trust the process. Don't afraid to make mistakes. It is part of development and experience. And this experience is of great value. It gives you a lot as a leader, as a member of the team, but above all, it gives you as yourself. Thank you.
Thank you. Tanya?
My advice is be brave to start a professional learning community. Have a goal that you want to use soft skills to improve and progress in yourself, your work team, and at the same time, it will naturally translate into working with children. Study and delve deeper into soft skills yourself, the better you will as a professional learning community. That's what I experienced from my own experience now during the entire soft skills project.
Thank you. Petra?
I would say it's definitely worth it. Leading a professional learning community is a continuous learning process. You grow with every meeting and with every interaction. The key is to create a safe and trusting environment where participants feel respected and comfortable to share ideas, experiences, and challenges. It's also important to stay reflective as a leader and regularly consider what works well and what can be improved, so you grow together with the group rather to only guide it. The combination of trust and reflection is the foundation for meaningful collaboration and long-term professional development.
Thank you. And Aleta?
My advice to someone just starting to lead a learning community would be not to try to have all the answers. The role of the leader is not to be an expert in everything, but to create an environment where members feel safe to share experiences, ask questions, and learn from each other. It is important to listen actively, ask open-ended questions, and give each member space to contribute. When we build trust and a culture of collaboration and learning community becomes much more than just a meeting place. It becomes a place for shared professional growth.
Thank you very much. And this is a thank you for all our 4 panelists, Aleta, Kathleen, Tatiana, and Petra. Your words carry so much wisdom and honesty, and we are very grateful for sharing today, your journey today with us. Okay, now we're finalizing the first panel and we are shifting perspectives. So now in our second panel, this second panel brings us to the organizations that designed and delivered the training behind the project. So the national leading organizations who worked closely with the kindergarten leaders and observed what changed and will reflect today on what they have learned. So it is my pleasure to welcome now from Croatia, Bojana Gotlin from Step by Step Croatia, from Estonia, Livi Tirpsa from NGO EA Algus, from Slovakia, Erika Sabova from NGO Škoda Koran Wide Open School, and from Slovenia, Matej Režak from Educational Research Institute. Welcome to all of you. And we will start with this question. So every project begins somewhere with a problem, a gap, a question that needs answering. What was the key challenge in your work with teacher group leaders that this project gave you a chance to address? Livi, can you begin, please?
Yes, thank you. Thank you for being first, yes. But a little step ahead and behind our work, there have been 30 years of different projects, but we didn't have such kind of topic as soft skills that it was big challenge for our NGO and for our training center to be very well known about these. We had to do serious work with us to lead all this process during 2.5 years and to train the others. Because the training opportunities we just had for different level of teachers, for kindergarten and school teachers, and these soft skills, they were in different parts, but not as seriously mentioned as now it was. And for us, it was big challenge. And also my personal experience in leading this international PLG meeting, it was also very good, and I will take this one with me as personal possibility to grow up. Thanks.
Thank you. Bojana, from your side?
As mentioned at the beginning, I work for Open Academy Step by Step Croatia, an organization that has been providing training for learning community leaders for more than 15 years. These are mostly professionals who go beyond standard expectations and are strongly committed to their professional development. One of our goals is to equip them through training to become effective leaders. Being a successful leader requires not only practical experience, but also specific leadership knowledge and facilitation skills. A good leader needs to take all members of the learning community into account and facilitate meetings accordingly. Leaders must pay attention to their members' professionals' experiences, communication styles, and the challenges they face. They also need to support members in addressing these challenges during meetings by using a variety of reflective methods.
Thank you. Mateja, from your point of view?
Thank you. In Slovenia, professional learning communities are already quite well established. And our experience shows that leaders often feel confident about the structure and content of meetings, but are less prepared for more demanding human aspects of facilitation. The focus groups we conducted before the project confirmed this. In these focus groups, leaders told us that the hardest part is not planning the meeting, but creating trust, encouraging honest reflection, dealing with resistance, giving feedback, and keeping people engaged over time. And many of leaders also expressed that they feel quite alone in facing these challenges. And this project helped us move beyond technical facilitation skills and focus more on this human side of leadership. So we worked on such skills such as active listening, feedback giving, conflict management, emotional intelligence, and reflective dialogue.
Thank you. Erika, to close?
Yes, thank you. I will probably be less general. The key challenge this project allowed me to address was bridging the gap between a leader's potential and her self-belief, specifically in driving real team transformation. First, it was about guiding a school leader to realize that she truly does have what it takes. I wanted her to see that under her leadership, her team has the capacity to evolve, unite, and collaborate effectively, all while maintaining deep mutual respect. And the second, the challenge lay in the pace and depth of mentorship. For me, I needed to guide her fast enough to meet immediate demands, but deeply enough so that these new leadership skills became second nature in her day-to-day work with her team. And ultimately, this project gave me the chance to also help her help the leadership to shift her own mindset, to stop just managing and to truly see herself as the impactful leader she's capable of being.
Thank you. Right, so this project is about changing practice, not only the knowledge, but so let's talk about what actually changed. So, Matea, what concretely changed in the kindergarten that you have worked with, and what changes did you observe in practice that felt genuinely meaningful and different?
Perhaps the most meaningful change was that reflection became more embedded in regular practice. The groups did not focus only on practical issues and quick solutions anymore, but increasingly engaged in deeper conversation about practice, about challenges, and about learning. And this might seem like a small shift, but actually it's not. It is really important because it creates better conditions for also for continuous professional growth. At the level of everyday work, we observed changes in how leaders facilitated professional dialogue. They reported paying more attention to active listening, to psychological safety, asking reflective questions instead of giving ready-made answers, and involving all group members more intentionally. And several leaders said that they had become more aware of the relational side of leadership and more careful about how they guided discussions. Another important outcome was related to the community of leaders from the pilot kindergartens, all pilot kindergartens with whom we worked directly in the project. So each of them already led a professional learning community in their own kindergarten, and the project helped strengthen the existing professional bonds among them. As we already mentioned, we established an international professional learning community, and through 6 meetings of this community, those leaders had regular opportunities to exchange experiences and discuss challenges from their practice. And as a result, trust and professional connectedness among them become even stronger. And this really matters because leading a professional learning community can sometimes feel quite lonely. And what we saw was development of strong peer network. And also the continuous support of kindergarten management was also important, and we witnessed this. The support was already there, but the project created a shared space where leaders and management could invest together in professional learning. And in our view, this combination of committed leaders and supportive management and ongoing reflection was one of the key reasons why the changes were meaningful and sustainable.
Thank you for this view. Bojana, from your point of view, what changes did you observe at Savica Kindergarten? We can't hear you.
This project gave us the opportunity to work systematically with leaders on developing their soft skills, providing them with a safe environment in which to practice and strengthen these competencies. Over the 2 years of the project, participants had the opportunity not only to take part in training activities, but also to engage in an international learning community and gain valuable experiences through collaboration with colleagues from different countries. I believe that at Savica Kindergarten, all facilitators are more aware of how important their role is. They are certainly more skilled in preparing for meetings. They pay more attention to the kind of atmosphere they will create during the community meeting so that everyone feels valued and encouraged to reflect on their own practice. In addition, it's important what kind of questions they ask and how they lead the discussions. Specifically, more people felt encouraged to join learning communities whose quality improved both because of more thoughtfully designed content and higher quality facilitation. In addition, teachers are now better able to identify professional challenges and are more willing to learn from them and use them as opportunities for professional growth.
Thank you. Right, now we have also another important question, and that is, in your experience, what makes it difficult for professional learning communities to move beyond superficial discussion and become real spaces for genuine reflection and learning? So this is an important question. Can you, Livy, please start on that?
Yeah. Okay. By my mind, for us, it was very big challenge because in this our partner kindergarten there are very good specialists in their field, but they have never worked together as a group of training group. And about this, our primary task or first task was to create a joint team of them, and that could review all the differences between colleagues and be active participants and good listener. And after that, it was important to create common basic principles and group rules, and then try to create a situation that supports the learner and an atmosphere of open communication. And if this one was done, it was also a challenge to find a common and sufficient time for this, because this can also be obstacles to carrying out genuine discussion and reflection, and it's therefore specific and very important to find the right time for everybody, and also the role of facilitator. It's maybe it's the most important thing, to be trustful, to give words for everybody, and to keep the conversation focused. And maybe if the role of facilitator is strong and she is a motivator for everybody, also this conversation might be deeper and can be so. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you. Erika, in your experience?
Well, in my experience, moving from superficial chats to genuine deep reflection in professional learning communities is one of the hardest shifts to achieve, because it requires people to drop their guards, which is incredibly difficult because school environments are often defensive by nature. I think there are also 3 reasons why groups get stuck on the surface, and I think we experienced all 3 of them. The first block is the survival mode. We operate in an educational system where school leaders and teachers are drowning in massive workload between standard teaching, increasing bureaucratic tasks, and constant management of crises. People are facing a very real threat of professional and personal burnout. Then when a person is chronically exhausted, their brain goes to survival mode. They don't have the emotional or mental bandwidth to dive into critical self-reflection. They are just trying to get through the day. So when they meet, they prefer to talk about paperwork or logistics because it's cognitively easier than analyzing their own teaching methods. Then probably the second barrier we experienced is how we, but also teachers and leaders, perceive professional development. We often see something we call training fatigue. Many educators have spent years attending passive seminars that brought no real value, And as a result, they feel like they have seen it all and heard it all, and they just want to do their hours and go home. So they see a learning community as just another obligation, an extra checklist item imposed from above, rather than a supportive resource. And then the real breakthrough happens only when they shift this mindset, when they realize that meaningful reflection isn't an extra burden, but actually the tool that will save them time and make their daily work easier. And then the third and probably the most critical challenge we observed is the fear and the lack of psychological safety, which also Tanya mentioned. Genuine reflection is painful because it requires vulnerability. It requires a teacher to stand in front of their colleagues and say, I don't know how to handle my colleagues. I don't know how to handle this situation, or I completely failed. What do I do now? And in many school cultures, there is still a heavy unspoken fear of consequences, judgment, of appearing incompetent. So this is a huge block. And if teachers don't feel entirely safe, they will naturally protect themselves. They will cover up their flaws with intellectual or semi-intellectual debates or superficial topics because otherwise it feels too dangerous. So we cannot just give teachers a structured agenda or a new methodology. We have to address all these underlying issues like burnout, reframe the purpose of learning, and build a culture of trust from top down. It's the leader's job to model this first, and then when teachers see that admitting a mistake is actually celebrated as a step towards growth, and it is not punished as a failure, these communities will become spaces for transformation.
Thank you. Thank you for these deep insights. So we are slowly nearing the end of our second panel. Now, looking back at everything that we've done, the training, the challenges, I would like to ask, what are the lessons learned from the project and how will you use them in your further work? Let's start with Erika now. Okay.
Yes, the second, technical difficulties. I think this project overall brought us very important lessons that will directly shape our future work. We succeeded in creating a highly practical training program. We now have fully tested materials, activity guides, precise facilitation questions. We know what actually works in practice, and we actually also learn how to tailor these programs so that they are genuinely beneficial for a very diverse group of teachers with very different backgrounds and years of experience. This was also a fascinating challenge for us because it was a completely new topic for our organization. But for, the biggest takeaway was realizing that for the vast majority of teachers, the concept of soft skills is entirely unknown. Very few have ever had any training in this area. And moving forward, this is exactly where we will put some part of our focus. We plan to build on the insights we gained in the future projects and hopefully integrate as much as possible the soft skills training into the educational offers for teachers we are now working with or will work in the future.
Thank you. Yes. Mateja?
Yeah, many important lessons, but if I express just one, if I limit to one, it would be the lesson, a really important lesson that leaders of professional learning communities really need their own community, their own safe space of colleagues where they can feel safe and express their challenges and reflect their practices and get support one from another. Because we often focus on supporting teachers, but usually less attention is paid to those who lead professional learning communities or to these who support teachers in their daily work. So this is really important lesson. And in our future work, we will actually continue to invest in long-term professional development and peer support. Actually, this is what we do in our research institute for 30 years, but from now on, those experiences and this knowledge we gained from this group work with our colleagues, it will really enrich the content of support we are offering to leaders of teacher support groups.
Thank you. Bojana? Unmute, please.
Yes, okay. We learned that investigating in the development of leaders' soft skills has a direct impact on the quality of learning communities. When leaders are equipped to facilitate dialogue, encourage participation, and support reflective practice, members become more engaged and more willing to share their experience and learn from professional challenges. Another important lesson was the value of international collaboration. Through participation in an international learning community, leaders gained new perspectives, exchanged ideas with colleagues from different contexts, and strengthened their professional confidence. In our future work, we will continue to place a strong emphasis on developing leadership and facilitation skills, creating opportunities for collaborative learning, and fostering professional cultures based on trust, reflections, and continuous improvement. Mute. You are mute, Katka.
Thank you. Livy, now to you, please, the final words on this topic.
Yes, I very much agree with the previous speakers, as our experience was not as huge as many of us. Our partners from different countries, they taught us so much, and I appreciate the work as project leaders, Matea and Jernea and Katka. I appreciate your work as in motivating all of us to put many information to broader the things in our website, in our Facebook, and everything, to share the information. It's so important to go ahead, and also we have some ideas to continue with these topics, and the cooperation with the others is very, very important, and also to find partner kindergartens. That was our Kõrveküla. Also very much appreciate the work there, and happy that they gave through Kathleen so good feedback from our work together. Thank you all.
Thank you very much. Thank you to all our four panelists, Livy, Bojana, Matea, and Erika. Thank you for your deep insights and your honesty and all the reflections. So it shows that the soft skills we are talking about are already developed in your cases. Thank you very much. So, okay, so we will now close the second panel. And the next part on our agenda is actually showing what all these stories, these challenges, and these moments of growth, what they have helped to shape, which is a practical resource, the soft skills toolbox, which is now going to be presented by Yerneja, who will walk us through it and show us what it is all about. So,
yes, thank you, Katka. I will share my screen. Good afternoon, also from my side. So it's really a pleasure to present one of the main practical outcomes of the project, and this is the soft skill toolbox for teachers support learning group leaders. The idea behind the toolbox is simple but very important. In teacher support learning groups, professional learning does not happen only because people meet regularly. It happens when the group is facilitated in a way that supports, as we already heard, trust, reflection, participation, and meaningful dialogue. And this is exactly where soft skills become essential. So the toolbox was created to support leaders of teacher support learning groups in strengthening these skills. It is intended mainly for those who facilitate professional learning groups, but also for coordinators, mentors, principals, trainers, and other professionals who support collaborative learning. So today I would like to briefly show what the toolbox contains, who is it for, and how it can be used in practice. As you can see in the index, the toolbox is organized in 5 main parts. So the first one is handbook, then videos of using soft skills in practice. The third part are reflective cards, then practical activities and techniques, and finally tips and tricks which leaders can use in their meetings. Let me now briefly present each of them. So the handbook, as a first part of the toolbox, explains why soft skills matter, how adults learn, and what effective facilitation looks like. Its key message is that teacher support learning group leader is not someone who gives answers, but someone who creates the conditions for open dialogue, reflection, and action. Videos. The videos show soft skills in practice through short recordings from our partner kindergartens. And since you've already watched one video, I will only stress that they are not perfect models to copy, but rather triggers for reflection. So in order to ask yourself, what can I get from this video? What can I learn? How can I improve my practice? So the toolbox include links to the videos with subtitles in 5 languages. And then now we move to the third part of the toolbox. These are the reflective cards, and they support structured reflection, let it be individually or in a group. Each card focuses on one soft skill, and there are 20 of soft skills in that toolbox, and also 20 of all the videos and the reflective cards. And those reflective cards offers guiding questions. Those cards help to move reflection from general impressions to more concrete examples and next steps. The fourth part of the toolbox is practical activities and techniques, and they help facilitators make meetings more active, more participatory, and focused. And they can support interaction, they can deepen reflection, change the energy in the room, or also help practice specific soft skills. Last but not least, the fifth part of the toolbox are tips and tricks. So this part offers checklists, templates, icebreakers, tool for follow-up meetings and more. So some really practical things that leaders can use. And facilitators, leaders can use those examples for planning, for support during meetings, and also reflection afterwards. So these were the all the parts of the toolbox. However, the value of the toolbox is not in using every part every time. Its value is in combining these elements purposefully so that the whole learning cycle is supported, from preparation, facilitation, to reflection, and then to planning next steps. And now to conclude, the soft skills toolbox is not a curriculum that needs to be completed from beginning to end. It is a flexible resource that facilitators can return to again and again. Its main purpose is to support better facilitation of professional learning groups. And because we have also heard, better facilitation matters because the quality of dialogue in these groups influences how practitioners feel, how they reflect, how they learn, and ultimately how they work with children and families. So the toolbox is on one hand very practical, but it's also very developmental document. It also supports facilitators, encourage them to ask questions like, how do I create trust in my group? How do I ensure more participation? How do I ask better questions? And last but not least, how do I continue growing in my role as a facilitator? So these were some snapshots from the toolbox, but the final document will be published on the ECOS platform. So I will use this occasion to warmly invite you to follow the announcements of ISA, International Step-by-Step Association, for further information and also access to the document. This was all from my side. Thank you. And I now hand the floor back to you, Katka.
Thank you very much. Thank you for presenting the toolbox. So now everyone knows what it looks like, what it contains, and how it reacts to the needs of the teachers, support learning group facilitators. So there are many ways how to go through the toolkit, how to use it. Right, and this is actually now time for us to open the Q&A part. So there is a little bit of time for questions from the participants of this event. So I would like to now invite anyone who is interested in anything about the resources, about the experiences of the panelists, about the whole process, or whatever you might be interested in, to unmute yourselves and ask a question. You can direct the question at a specific panelist, or for the answers, if somebody feels inspired by the question, you can answer, or you can also ask the questions through the chat. So if you are a bit more shy, or maybe your camera or your microphone doesn't work. So let's see if we have something in the chat. I hope I'll be able to. Tirol, thanks for sharing your joint experiences from Moldova. Thank you very much. Now, let's see. we can wait a little bit. Maybe you need some time to think about what you'd like to know more about. While we are waiting and nobody is asking anything, maybe it will inspire some of you. So now a question to any of the panelists. So if you could go back and start the project knowing what you know now, is there anything you would do differently? I think this is a question that can be asked to any of the kindergarten participants or any of the national leading organizations. So is there anything you would do differently knowing what you know now?
It's an easy and, on the other hand, it's really difficult question. But if I go to our context, we were working with kindergarten Pobrežje. Actually, we wouldn't change anything because it is really important that everything starts with leader of management of the kindergarten who understands why learning communities are important in organization, that supports leaders in the organization, and fortunately everything was already there. So if that wouldn't be present, that would be the first thing we would change. But yeah, as I said, in that kindergarten, those let's say structural conditions for working and for supporting leaders were already there. So we could work with really with soft skills and what they mean in the practice.
Thank you. Right. So we have no.
May I?
Oh,
Sorry.
yeah, sure.
Yeah. Sorry, Cornelia Moldova. I'm so glad to see familiar faces. And as an outsider to the project, I really appreciate and admire, the richness of experiences you got through this project. I know how much work was done already by the teams in Croatia and Slovenia, working with the communities of reflective practitioners. So the discussions I was witnessing today were really digging deeper into what makes it and what are the obstacles from moving to move from superficial talk to really deep discussions. And these are really very, very profound thoughts. So yeah, I just can applaud, what you have done and how our step-by-step community, international community, can contribute out of these discussions, moving towards quality and professionalism in education. Thank you so much and good luck.
Thank you dearly for the comment and for the appreciation. Also, we have some thanking messages here. Thanks a lot, everyone. So maybe, is there maybe another question, or I can give like one more insider question, and then we can wrap up? Because in the chat, I'm sorry, maybe if I didn't notice, but there are very nice messages. Yes, like for example, all leaders in kindergarten should take some of your programs and classes to improve soft skills in leading and understanding. Thank you. It was clear. Thank you. There's a mention and interesting resource, inner development goals. Right, okay, so we have a little bit more time. So maybe we can have one more question for the kindergarten. So maybe if a colleague said to you, I don't have time for soft skills, I don't have time for learning something new like soft skills, what would you say? Is anyone? How would you try to motivate?
May
Petra?
I?
Yes.
Oh, sorry, Petra. No, go first. Go first. Please do.
No, I would just say it's not really easy to motivate participants who are not motivated by themselves. But as we said previously, through this project, we gained a really, really deeper understanding of how important this is and many tools to do it. So we will just try, and we would try to see them. How these reflect on their work and how much they can gain through this process, and we would cross fingers that this will help.
If I may, because through your question, Katka, I was inspired. Well, last week when we had a project meeting, all the consortium partner met in Maribor, and our colleagues from kindergartens gave us as a farewell gift one chocolate with a writing on, and it said soft skills, strong connections. And maybe, yeah, it's like a very sweet motivation, but still, I think that in this project, in this consortium, we really make strong connections. And yeah, if not this, what then could motivate anyone to work on this topic? So poetically said, but still, it's very, very. Yeah, I think that the topic connected us very much, and I think that we really feel that this is a topic to grow more, to do more on this in the future. Thank you.
I see an interesting answer also from Erika saying, I would say thank you. Your answer was also an example of a soft skill, and this would probably spark some conversation. This is a comment in the chat. So this also shows, I don't know, I think the soft skills and the depth of human connection that is so important also in the professional environment, that is always very important. So with this, if there are no further questions, I would like to give a heartfelt thank you to all the panelists, to Jennifer for keeping the background running and everything behind the scenes, and for Echoes, and especially for everyone who took their time and their attention today and gave it to us and the event. And with this, I would like to give the word to Michaela for the final remarks. Thank you.
Thank you, Katka. Well, I have to say it has been such a treat to hear all the confessions of the learnings that have happened in the project. I always see project as means, one of those trams or buses that you jump in and takes you to another destination. And thank God that they exist to a certain extent, because there's so much innovation that has been created, or so much has been nurtured through such opportunities. I would like to really take a moment to thank to everyone who made this possible, this conversation possible. And first, I would like to thank to our panelists. I think ECOS is a place where not only academics are talking, but I think extremely valuable experiences from practice are the ones that are nurturing our understanding of what works, what doesn't work, what we should improve, and really listen to what is really happening in reality, because that's what impacts the lives of children and families and of the people that are working with them. I think that the openness and honesty has been one of the things that we all appreciated, and that is an answer to putting soft skills in place. I think the whole event actually was a demonstration about how soft skills are put in act. But also we just understand that these skills are actually not about mastering some techniques. I remember it was in 2014 that in ISA, the Professional Learning Communities book was published, written by Sanja Brajkovic from the Open Academy Step by Step. And it was a way of understanding how we can bring professionals to really have professional discussions about quality. And it's an entire process that has to have its own structure, but it's so much accompanied by the soft skills that we are talking today. How we guide reflection, how everybody's feeling included in the discussion, feels safe and feels encouraged to share what not only they are good at, but also where they feel like they are not so sure they are good at. These are things that all of us in our professional lives are sharing, but not many instances are the ones in which we feel comfortable to talk about. But that's what makes us grow. And I think that's happening in any profession, but even more in the early childhood profession, which is not so recognized as many others, or it's not the one that is the highly, has a reputation like all the others. So it's the one that actually needs more support and empowerment than perhaps others. And it's not that there are not good practices in place, and it's not that there are not good things happening. It's only that they're so hidden sometimes or so silent, and there's little empowerment to have them to make them visible. Professional learning communities are this type of environment, and I think that the work that has been done, or at least in our network over the years, to promote such kind of mechanism for supporting professionals in becoming better, but also not only better, but becoming even more self-confident and feeling appreciated on how they are growing. It's something that we have considered extremely precious. That's why today the ECOS event, focusing on soft skills, we consider it a thought leadership, because this is the topic that I think that more attention should be paid in how it is cultivated, not only among those that are leading professional communities. It's among those that are mentors, it's among those that are leading centers, it's among those that are policymakers. It's about everybody who is working actually in creating and implementing policies and programs in early years. So I think that this event has inspired a lot of our colleagues. We are really committed to creating a self-paced course on ECOS about this topic, because we really believe that so much has been learned. And it's not just about what has been learned from practice, it's about how much is needed for this type of knowledge to become actionable, how we can really make people aware and make them practice what is not always easy, but that it's so much needed. Before I close, I also would like to thank to all colleagues that have been leading this project, who are always pioneers in trying out new things and really addressing issues that are less addressed, but they are very topical. And for creating such type of international communities where people feel safe and empowered to share their learning and their unknown and their curiosity at the same time. Rest assured that we will publish the toolbox as soon as it is finalized. And before closing, I would like to invite you to a next event. We talked about the leadership in leading professional communities, but we are also talking about leadership for inclusion in the next event on the 10th of June, where we speak what are the competencies that leaders of centers should have to create more connected local systems, to enable those that can benefit less of the services to access them. So there are lots of things that we should be talking about leadership, not only in the classroom, not only at the service level, but also at the level of how services are working together. And this is going to happen on the 10th of June at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Be sure that you're also signing up for the ECOS newsletter. It's not just marketing and promotion, it's that you would not know what we are preparing as next thought leadership events, and stay connected with what are the hottest topics to be addressed, as we are handpicking them, and we truly believe that they are so relevant for either for the practices, either for thinking together how we can improve our own systems. So with this said, and again, I'm not keeping it the last but in the least, but it's about the participants that signed up in such a huge number today. This shows that there is a high interest for such topics, for having discussions grounded in practice, to bring to to bring more visibility to the reflections, the honest reflections, and the interest to share such kind of reflections in collective learning, so that we really make some difference in our work, and also, but most importantly, for our children and families in all the countries. We hope that you have enjoyed the conversation, and we really are hoping that you will be willing to fill in this little survey that we have prepared for you, just to get a feedback so that we can get better at what we are doing. We would be extremely thankful if you can fill it in. Well, thank you for being with us today. Huge thanks to all the panelists and for sharing everything that you have experienced in this vehicle of learning. And also we look forward to seeing you again at another ECOS event. Wishing everyone a wonderful afternoon, a good life in general, and some joy whenever possible in our lives. Thank you so much.